So what's up? Hey, what's up? What is up, guys? And welcome to yet another episode of Podvise. My name is Kevin Kenge, of course. I'm joined today by our creative director, Mr. Ronnie Okero. Shouts out. Also behind the camera, of course, Mr. doing the most, and of course, our writer and community manager, Ms. Joy. Sure. How you guys feeling? How's it been since the last
time we were here? Been fine. Just working here and there.
For sure.
No big deal.
Like I was saying, I was hoping this episode for our audience. Let's get into it.
Feel free to just tell us how your weekend was and what you want us to talk about, to be honest. Because today, anyway, I just want to talk about something that everyone knows about. Senator Gloria. I think it's Orwoba. I don't know if I'm saying her second name correctly. But yeah, she's the one with the white suit that was blood stained. And she went to Senate like that. So a few topics come up. The way I'm studying this issue, or the way the people were commenting on it, I felt like there was an age gap. So the people who are a bit older felt it was just the worst thing they had ever witnessed. It was deplorable. And for people who, the rest of us, were like, okay, I hear you, and kudos. Clearly, these guys will not see. It had to be that graphic for them to talk about.
And it's sad that it had to be that graphic to start a conversation, right?
Exactly. It had to be that graphic. So obviously we don't think it's real. We don't think she wore a white suit and was actually blood stained.
It was pretty much staged.
Yes. But I think she put her point across, because if you look at the Senator Tabitha, who was the one who actually decided to call out the issue in Senate, and the way she did it was not in a very loving way. She couldn't even get her words out. She was just so mortified.
She was calling her out.
And she felt like women were put back hundreds of years because of that. I just felt it was a bit... Because why couldn't she just go up to her? And I think I'm actually somehow glad she did it the way she did, because then Gloria's point was made that many girls, which was what I feel like she wanted to talk about, are actually dropping out of school because of something that happens every month. You know.
And it's sad that we never have this conversation. They're always stigmatized, to the sense that, and I love what you said, because even like from the video that you saw, the lady who was trying to call her out,
Tabitha,
she couldn't necessarily say what that was all about. She just dodged.
The speaker had to ask like 5 times, what is the issue? She's in a suit. Madam, tell us, what is the issue? As a woman, there are things. I'm like, girl, it's blood. Like she did.
And it's something that happens every month, so for me, I feel like it's not. It shouldn't be we shouldn't be criminalizing this, But I love what the senator did, with just coming through, and I feel like it's part of the whole dialogue, which has led us to having this conversation that we're having right now, So kudos to her. I feel like we should literally. It's nice and it's really important to sensitize these topics and have these conversations across, because they impact and influence the daily lives of young women in Kenya. But I mean, I saw her. She's put now billboards all over. I don't know if it's a bad thing or she's she's genuinely interested in making a change.
That is another topic.
Right.
But whatever it is, I don't know if it's sad or good, but women senators are just so irrelevant. I feel like in our country. Because they literally don't do anything. They don't put out anything. They don't even help women. I remember there was a time they were debating, they wanted to reduce the age of consent for girls. Yes.
To what now?
To 16. Are we in France? Where it's 12. And
it's 12.
It's not. But it's France. It's probably 14. I don't know. It's that shocking, probably. And then I remember there was a time where there was many girls in a certain province. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was in Ukambani or where. There was a lot of teenage pregnancies, and it was so bad that everyone was talking about it. No woman was talking
Never
about.
brought it to light.
They never brought it to light. All these teenage, you just label them fast. And you think it's their fault that these grown men are impregnating small girls. So, whether it was genuine or not, I just felt like this is the way it would have been discussed. I don't think. And then the Senator, Anita, the one with the hair, Ledama, was saying, it's something taboo. We also have wives and daughters, and they are. I don't know, but kudos to
They all go through this.
They all go through this, but why it's saying it's not taboo. And I think what the issue is about girls having to to drop out of school because of menstruating. I think it's really tragic.
So I think it's a stigma behind the whole idea, right?
Something that has happened before time. Like this is something that is not new. That's the sad part about it. It's not something that is catching us by surprise. You get such a pandemic, and the fact that these people cannot even discuss it. Like if you go to the shops nowadays, a good decent pad it can even be 200 and something shillings, and that's a pack of 10. 10. So by the time the next month, it's really tragic. Like it's really expensive for no reason. For sure. Especially, I don't even think it needs to be that expensive because you will never not have customers for that.
True. Every month.
Every month you never have to look for customers. You never. It's not even monthly because it's not like we all have the same time every month. It's like a salary. The man who don't actually know that. For sure. There's one who treated this like at every month. I'm like, we don't all. It's not a timetable.
Like 28 ikifika.
So even if they put a fair amount of a good price. But there are a lot of options that are now coming up, like menstrual cups and something that you can wash and whatever. But again, we need education for that.
For sure.
Who better
and
to
guys shouldn't, and guys shouldn't share from having these conversations, right? For sure.
The
more you have these conversations, the more there's, more incentives, or even like I don't know if it's discounts or just something basically. A reduction in price, for these particular products, which I think we can only make sure that these things are, legislated once we have these conversations. Because the more we share from them, the more, we share them, the more we don't talk about them.
So like the
more prices, like the more, it just has this ripple effect to, the product itself, which will necessarily be free. Or,
right, that's the other thing I was going to say. I feel like it shouldn't be driven by profit. It's an industry that should be driven by profit. It should be driven by, the need.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, this topic goes so deep. I don't know if you guys were aware, but for the audience, I'd like if you can remember, there was a time there was this whole viral thing happening on the same issue. For example, always the same pad they give to Kenyans is not the same standard. Maju.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So different. People were like, in Kenya it's like plastic. People were getting banned.
It's synthetic.
It's synthetic. It's so bad, like it was plastic. But Uko, it's cotton. It's nicely padded. Like it's like a world of difference. So it goes deep. But if we can't even mention blood without being beside ourselves, it beats the purpose. So. Yeah, you guys, like, I don't know if you know people some organizations that handle awareness in terms of menstruation, the issues, how we can provide pads. Please just don't be shy to comment.
Community.
For sure. So that we can also be part of it into driving this topic in the way that it needs to go.
For sure.
So, in consensus, you agree with what she did?
Yeah.
Maybe honestly, not the way she did it.
I don't think there would have been any other better way to do it, really. Because people share from having this conversation. So, she did what she had to do. She created some sensitization. I just hope that she is genuinely interested in making an impact in this.
And it's not about
this whole notion. Otherwise, she could just be putting up billboards to, fire up her campaign. But generally, I think it's amazing. There's really no other way that she could have done it.
It was visceral.
But that's unfortunately that's how
you couldn't ignore it.
Which was, I feel, was the whole point of the exercise. So you guys let us know what you think about that in the comments below.
So you guys, speaking of what happened to her and what the girls go through, I want to pan to another issue on mental health, but I'll do it in a different way.
Okay.
So Ronnie shared with us a tweet. I know you look for the tweet and put it.
Oh, definitely.
So this man genuinely said that they're feeling so overwhelmed in relationships, and he's framed it like this, like, how many of you just think of just living your life and going? Drop the kids, drop, and just going and starting a whole other life. And I remember my first reaction was like, oh, from a compassionate point, believe it or not, I was like, okay, it's a feeling, they're not doing it. You know, it's a feeling, and there's no reason of ignoring the feeling if it's there. But looking at the comments, I was worried because they're like, yeah, did it 2 years ago, never be the same. And another one was like, I've done it twice.
It's funny because like guys were just putting out their testimonies
of living their
they have literally done this. This is not just a thought, like they've actually executed this.
And they don't regret it. They are very
they're like, I did it twice. It's been amazing.
It was just so alarming, and just goes to just have a conversation about what are guys actually going through in their families. You may be seeing guys outside here, with the couple goals, setting standards online, but really like what's going on behind the scenes, people are literally going through it. And this was just like another testimony. But for me, I think it just came off a bit toxic, because now you have a whole ass family. Like, why would you leave your family? Like, no one really forced you to get into this, into the arrangement that you guys have. And now since it's not working, you could have, just tried to visit a counselor, try to make things work, but you decide to leave your whole family and just step out. There were so many different cases, and they are so toxic. I think this just went to show how sometimes I don't know if it's like a misogynistic thing, but yeah, most of the comments are from men, living their families. So yeah, we just have to have more of these conversations. Guys should also visit. I think this is so underrated, visiting a counselor or even having like a relationship mentor. Guys who have already like, they're over like 10 years now into their marriages, so they can be able to just consult and just give the advice. But I think for me, to just so off and cringe from what I read.
I mean, what do you think? It was crazy. First of all, I feel like there's validity in the sense of it's okay to feel that, right? Things can get overwhelming for whatever reason.
What you feel,
right? But there's a way to go about solving certain things, right? I like the line from KOD, where it's basically life can bring so much pain, but there are numerous ways of dealing with this pain. So it's just about choosing wisely. KOD, by the way, is J. Cole's album, whatever Kids is. That wasn't clear.
I
what
thought it was a person.
Yeah, so it's
Thank you for
right? Because guys were just
I figured.
It's a person. I was like, we're Nani.
Yeah, so basically it's an album by J. Cole, named KOD. It's not really clear what KOD means. But yeah, it's basically the message behind it, right? Life can bring so much pain. There are so many ways of dealing with this pain, so it's about just choosing wisely. And I feel like doing that, to me, it's not wise.
It's like leaving your whole family and starting another family.
For me, it's layered. I think there is also a page I saw of women. It's heartbreaking. A lot of women also regret motherhood. They're like, I love my kids, I would die for my kids, but I hate when they keep touching me. This one was like, I hate being touched all the time. Kids touch you
with the
all
hands,
the time.
whatever they find in their hands.
I know. And then another one was like, it's so heartbreaking, things you've worked for years, they break it. They just destroy stuff.
Right.
And then another one is like they're kids, they're just being kids.
Right.
And a lot of them feel trapped. Like, some just feel like once they got into this motherhood drain.
You also have to keep your ambitions aside, just so you can
to be a mom. And my thing is, those are the same people that will make other women without children feel less than women.
So
because now many women, they're now talking about like, I don't want to be a mom. It's not something I'm interested in. Even my parents never understand it up to date. They're like, no, I raise you, so you're going to be alone. I'm like, you're having kids to cure loneliness.
Actually.
So for these men who are feeling trapped, I'm sorry you feel that way. However, for the men who are still not having, this is a choice, right? You don't have to get married. You
and
don't have to
you already chose your own.
And so to do it twice, Once you have, for example, you have that one child and you see it's so challenging, you don't have to have another one.
Right.
Like these are choices you're making. So you can't blame your kids and you can't put it on them to leave that mother with those children, and then now you want to show up 20 years later after everyone has finished college.
Yeah.
You know, and be the cool dad. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't have to get to that point. I feel like from the moment you started feeling like you started visualizing you leaving, there's so many steps before that you could have taken. And that's on you. That's on you. You are the one who, did you communicate this with your significant other? So now what are we supposed to do? The children are here. So I feel like a lesson to everyone, even the viewers, these family-based things, I think it's one of the most joyous and one of the most beautiful blessings that are there. But stop buying into every dream that people are selling. Oh, couples this, couples that, my kid this, my kid that. Actually ask your question. Ask yourself those questions. Why do I want a family? Why do I want kids? And if you can, I do. Woo! The way people answer that question, I never used to think about it.
It always feels so narcissistic.
It's always about them.
What they're going to do for them, you know.
Yeah, and it will continue by my okay, what do you want to continue?
I'll have someone send the remote to send to the kitchen.
No, it really gets to that point. It's true. It's
for sure.
Sindio. And many, who will take care of me when I'm old. So even the reason people are, that's why, and it will be very relevant to our next topic, but we won't get there yet. That's why I feel like there's a lot of contention between parents and their children. Because you think when you have a child and you didn't want to, that child doesn't know.
Right. And I start being passive aggressive and projecting to them.
They know. Especially for girls who are like firstborns. They become the parent. And interestingly enough, anakuwa mzazi kabisa. If you've ever seen a child is 10 years old, she's the one cleaning their parents. She's the one feeding the baby. She's the one babysitting. She's the one. I'm not saying babysitting your siblings is wrong, but those are not your kids.
For sure.
Babysitting an hour is one thing, but them being responsible, like a mother will come beat their child because
they didn't take
care of their sibling. That's not her kid.
For sure.
So growing up, they have been caretakers ever since they never had a childhood.
It's true.
So when they grow up, of course they don't want kids. Of course they don't want kids. They never had a good introduction to it. Thank God that wasn't my experience, but imagine I get it. So for those people feeling trapped in relationships, I just think for those who are not yet there, just take your time. Usiangalie age, usiangalie your neighbor, usijicompare. Just sit down and ask yourself, why do I want a family? And if you can answer that question in a way that's not just about you,
putting in perspective everyone else.
Exactly. Then I feel like when you get that child, you're able to teach them as a human, as an individual, and you're able to support their purpose on this earth in a way that's healthy. You get? It's not your property. Nilikuzaa, I can take you out. So no, someone gets. So I just feel like that's trap. Just ask yourself this question: why do we want kids?
Just having those genuine conversations with a significant other, you know, before it gets too late.
Because once they come, you're not going back.
Right. And now what can you do?
And it's forever. You're never not a mom. You're never not a dad. Yes, you see. So nowadays at 18 they're out. We all know that's not going to happen. They want to tax the air we breathe. So you might be responsible for those kids just a little bit more than you had planned.
Definitely. I mean, I also want to know, like, tell us what you think on the comment section. You know, I think it's really important for us to, you know, have these conversations, and most importantly, you know, for our age groups, you know, where we always just consume and, you know, find inspiration from other people's relationships. So yeah, you know, just please engage us in this particular conversation. We'll love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, and I also want to hear from the people who are already moms, whether or not you, moms or fathers, whether or not you're in a nuclear family. Do you think the nuclear setting is, I feel like nuclear setting is the goal for many people. I know certainly it's a goal for me, but it doesn't always happen that way. Do you think nuclear setting is the answer? Like you actually get married? Do you think people should be having kids?
Do you think stay is
looking back, now that you're already a mom or a dad, what would you say is something you would have done differently? And of course, this is not loving your kids, not regretting your kids, no. But share in the comments, tell us like what would you just have done a little bit different.
For sure.
And I think having those conversation options out there, it will just make somebody pause, and it will be a different experience for the next person when they get into motherhood or fatherhood or the whole family thing. Right? So you guys, remember I told you something that I have mentioned with the parents would now tie into the topic. So there's a topic that again Ronnie brought up. We were talking about
in general,
and it's the gap between parents and their kids. That contention between the parents and the children, especially as it pertains to career choices and what they want to do. So career choices can be an actual career or what you want to do in school. I think there's a lot of people doing medicine and law that have no business being there. But their parents always dreamt of being a doctor, and because it didn't happen to them, they decided my child. Again, that's another thing that the way I saw it would tie in is people don't think children are individuals with their purpose. They just think this is my child, an extension of me, and I'll tell you what to do.
My dreams,
So now for the topic, I was thinking, you guys, and what has been your experience with your own parents as it pertains to your career?
My field of work.
Did you get the support right from the start, or did you get a support but it was also kundani, like, but
maybe we just start with me. Since I'm in the creative field and industry, I think when I was starting out, my mom wasn't really so supportive, because and also I can't blame her, because we all know how the creative industry is, in Kenya. It's not too progressive. There's always so many gatekeepers, so many setbacks here and there. Exactly. It's just always so hard. So when I was starting out, she wasn't too supportive. But I think at some point, what I love about her, she just always been so supportive, with at least what I showed interest in. Like
she's curious at least.
She'd buy me gear, at least when I was starting out, and like when I lost my camera, she was able to just give me a good kickstart, So she's always been there. She's always been so supportive, and I think now for her, like, I think when she actually realized that this can be a promising field of work is when I started getting clients. When I bought my first setup. Basically, she just saw me upgrading.
She saw the hustle.
She saw the potential. Exactly, the potential. And she's always been there. Now, I started getting into NFTs as well. She actually saw. I think she started seeing me. Getting more published. Getting. Just doing.
I
think that's the thing, by them. Parents most of the times. Thank you. Yeah, parents most of the times, for them to notice that you're doing great, it always has to stem out from like external forces,
you have to do some sort of validation,
or like
some sort of acknowledgement from outside. They're like,
But also, I also can't blame her, because she doesn't know too much about NFTs and like the tech side, So once
they think camera, they see photo. They don't think the millions of things you can do with the camera.
Like the possibilities that come with, So that has just motivated me to always do better, be better person, keep growing the craft. So I think having a supportive parents or a guardian is really important, to just make sure that you have you are in a good mindset to just pursue what you're doing. But I also want to know about
for me for me, I've never had the traditional idea, I want to do this, I want to be in art or whatever. But generally, for example, for this podcast, my parents have been very supportive. So on that point, I'd say,
did they actually watch?
I've sent them a couple. They never finished. But my mom did ask me, and I told you guys, it's
that's the thing.
They want results.
Exactly.
They want results. So like even me, I want results now. But they support in the best way they do. I do feel like, I don't know, I'm not a parent yet. But as a child, I think curiosity can cure a lot of that contention. You don't have to agree with what your child is going to do, because again, you've lived life as well. You've lived more life than your child, so you do know. This is not even a beat down on parents or whatever. However, I do feel like just be curious at least. Be involved in research a little bit on what your kid is doing, and then ask questions. And I promise you, your child will answer them. Like if you come and like, okay, you want to do acting or you want to be into dancing, what is it about? What does this really look like? And I've seen these are the challenges. Like, what is your plan if this doesn't work? And that way, the child actually feels like if you disagree or agree, you're actually coming from a point of research and from a point of information that just started out of curiosity. You're not necessarily interested in that, but because your child is, you took the time
to learn more about
it. And I feel like that would go a whole, so that even if they go out there and get beat down, they know at least they have a safe space with you, and you won't come back and be like, I told you, I told you this won't work, I told you. You get, when you do that, it just really beats down on the person mentally. You know, so don't be that parent or don't be that person, you know.
Like the support goes a long way, honestly.
And then also for us as the kids, let's not look at it as these people hate us.
But I think most of the time it depends on how the person approaches it.
And of course, this is me speaking. This is not for the extremes. I do feel like there are parents who hate their children, so I'm not even going to play about that. Really, there's nothing you can tell them. Even if you become that doctor, they want to be. They want you to be the doctor that they want you to be. So that would be my opinion. Just be curious at least. And I feel like that will open a door with your kid in a way that you never even imagined. But kwambia tu to know, it never works. You know nothing about the camera, you don't know what it does, you don't know. You when you were beginning, did you even know NFTs didn't even exist? So it's a wonder what this art thing can open for you. Or the non-traditional things. Look at Nani. She was being made fun of for dancing. Asian. Similar people, she was a joke for some time because of that she was dancing. Now she's in a committee speaking in parliament. The president knows her. So you just never know. You never know what that camera thing you began, it opens a whole world. So please be curious, that's all I'd say.
For sure. I mean, for me as well, it's been more or less the same struggle. But I think it's important here what you're saying in terms of there needs to be some understanding from both sides. Like we need to meet each other in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So there's validity in both sides in terms of, as a parent, there's the experience that's come with it and the guidance that you can provide, right? And for the kid, there's the purpose and so there's also a disconnect in terms of in terms of the time. There's certain things that worked 30 years ago
that just don't they're
work today, right?
They're not even relevant,
right? And the other side of it is, right, the opposite is that there's things that didn't exist 30 years ago that exist today, and they are big.
Exactly.
To the point where someone who is in that mindset of 30 years ago it goes over them, right? So and I think it's important for parents and kids to have these conversations based on an understanding that so I see there's things that that I don't, and the other way around. Right?
That curiosity too.
Exactly, right? So if people can just, meet each other. Talk to each other, please.
I think it stems back from having a good relationship with either your parent or your kid, because once you have these solid relationships, your kid is able to just open up to you, and you're also able to, just sympathize with them and get to hear them, and also get to give them a chance to pursue what they like. Because you never know what connection this person has, and the situation may be different from yours. So I think, just being sympathetic enough and just giving them an opportunity to explore and be curious, in a good and enabling way, I think it goes also a long way.
I mean, if he wants to dance on TikTok, let him dance for like a year.
Right.
You might be surprised.
The next David Moya.
You never know. That's the thing. Like, who knew a day in the life would be a thing?
Right.
And I watch them like nothing. It's just so fascinating to see people's routines. You see what you can add to yours. There's things like clean talk.
Yeah.
We just want people clean. We got so many. There's fashion, there's makeup, and there's no such thing it's already been done. Who cares? So this is just an encouragement also to people who, even if it's not content creation, people are teaching themselves coding through the thing. People are through the internet.
AIs, machine learning.
People, like, the world is your oyster, especially in your 20s.
Yeah.
I just feel like as a parent, you would be doing a big disservice to your kid if you put them in this rigid,
the conventional.
That's why people get midlife crisis by the time they are 30. They're like, what is my life? Especially if they follow your script. So just let it go, just support them. Be curious about your kids. So you guys in the comments and in the Twitter sphere, Instagram sphere, whatever you're watching on, what has been your experience? Like, if especially I want to hear from the people who don't have the traditional, quote unquote traditional forms field of work, and your career choices are not what your parents would think. And what would happen? Like, what's been your experience? That's all I want to know. How
and also, like first of all, like, how do you maneuver that space, and also what has led to your success?
True.
Because I feel like there's always so much that you can learn from.
Especially if it still hasn't budded into what you had imagined. You're still beginning. In those inception stages.
Also from like people who did it.
I feel like we should have more of these people, on this.
I want to see what they did.
Their brains.
So if it's you, please tell us. We want to hear from you.
For sure.
So you guys, Ronnie, Joy, Kevin, we've had this wonderful show together.
Wow.
It's so nice being with you. It's an honor that you even listen to us, that you comment, that you're with us in this Podvise. So God bless you. And this is the end of our show, guys.
So until next time, the Podvise.